Well, what's going on, people? Hope all is well. Just on here with a friendly reminder that I am TehRahnSey. What's going on? Say what's going on. Oh, yes, indeed. Giving thanks, giving thanks. So, just discussing a little bit today about a few reminders when it comes to astrology, cosmology, right? First off, to add maybe just a different with something you may not know, right? You always want to account for, you don't have to, maybe wise to consider that wherever your sun is at or the different planets, entities are in your chart, that you want to also make sure you're looking at the degrees, right? And to figure out your degrees, you need to know what time you're born so that you know exactly what was the degree of the sun when you were born. What degree was it at in the sky, right? Seemingly in the sky, right? Also with your moon and with all of your other different planets, right? Entities in your chart. So that's one thing you want to consider because that's going to also start to show you how there's another entity or energy controlling actually your sun. So let's say your sun is in Aries at 15 degrees. Well, there more than likely is another planet that is, another way to put it, it is sitting like underneath your sun that's actually controlling your sun. In a sense, it is, so your sun is acting a certain way with Aries characteristics, but there's something that your sun is acting like. It's shining, but how is it shining? What is it shining like? So it could be shining like Saturn. Maybe Saturn is, I'm just giving you for an example. Saturn could be, according to your degree, sun in Aries, first sign, first house. Saturn could be controlling your sun based on your degrees. So that means your sun is acting like Saturn, shining like Saturn in a sense, in the first house is Aries. It could be Venus. I'm just saying for an example, but whatever degree your planets are in whatever house or sign, there's always another planet, or it could be the same planet, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't looked back on, are there any planets that actually control their planet like that? I wouldn't say it's not, but I can't really think of it right now offhand. You definitely want to get into degrees though. So you can see again, just what's really controlling the planet, and then you can start to see some other different things when it comes to aspects, which brings me to my next point, aspects. So let's say that the sun is in Aries, and for example, it is being controlled by Saturn according to the degrees of the sun. You want to look and see then where is Saturn at in the chart. So Saturn could be over here in the 5th sign in Leo. Saturn could be over here in Scorpio. So this Saturn Scorpio energy is causing the sun to act and present itself naturally as an Aries. So aspects. Also the aspect of the sun itself. The sun or wherever, normally the planet that it is normally going to aspect the place right across from itself. So I want to say all of them, all of the planets definitely aspect right across because that's how it naturally is. So first from itself is already aspecting itself because it's in that house. So the sun is here, it's already aspecting the 7th house, the 7th sign across from itself. The moon here aspects the 7th, Venus here, Mercury, Mars, and stuff like that, right? And then other planets, some of those planets, entities, they actually aspect other places. Like I think there's one planet at least that aspects from its first house, it aspects the 4th sign, whatever's sitting there, the 7th sign, and the 10th sign, meaning that's the direction the energy is going into. When the planet is sitting here in the first and it starts to aspect, it's aiming the energy in a certain direction, these are aspects. You want to look into aspects, and then whatever is aspecting, you need to find out what's going on with those planets. Where are those planets in the signs that is aspecting? Because that's the direction it's going into, to see, well, what's actually happening on a deeper level in there. It's always something else, right? With astrology, cosmology, give thanks. So you have degrees, you have aspects, and then you also have conjunctions. You have a lot of different things you can look at. These are just some basics. All right. You have conjunctions also. So maybe your sun is sitting here and at 15 degrees, for an example, and it's being controlled by Saturn based on its degrees, the nakshatras, right? Now the sun is actually conjunct, let's say with Saturn. Saturn happens to be with the sun here, and Venus is here. Then if Venus is too close to the sun, any planet too close to the sun doesn't really do well because it gets kind of like combusted. It combusts because it's too close to the sun like that. It's only planet that really can take that energy or entity like that is Mercury. Hence why they say in the sky, Mercury is the closest planet to the sun. In astrology, what we know of as Mercury and the sun, Mercury is the only planet that can really be like, you know, you'll feel it on like 3 degrees and 2 degrees and stuff, but Mercury can handle the heat. Trust that overall. If anybody gonna be able to deal with the heat from the sun, Mercury can deal with like 5 degrees close to the sun like that, 6, 7, 8, as opposed to other planets start getting like under 10 degrees towards the sun, around that 6, 7, 5, 4, 3, you start to feel some more of the challenges, you know, being too close to the sun like that. So if things may happen in love, if Venus is sitting here with the sun and Saturn, things may happen in love real quick and then they die out. They happen and then they combust. That could be because your Venus is here sitting with the sun. I actually did a reading for a brother, and his sun is in Pisces. Naturally, his sun was, when he was born, the sun was going through Pisces. He has Venus, when I did his chart, he has Venus in Pisces, and he was asking me, I just want to know about love, man, why I can't just find. And I'm already thinking about like he do be having women, but it just don't be lasting. So I want to see is his Venus combust. This is right around the time I actually was learning about, you know, that part of the astrology, cosmology, you know, how you can look at it another way when it comes to your love life. So yeah, his Venus sits with the sun in Pisces, right? So it's so close that it'll happen and then it'll flare up and burn up because Venus can't take the heat sitting by the sun like that, close like that. So if you have the sun here with Venus close, that's probably what's happening to yourself. Also work, if your Saturn is too close to your sun, probably you could go in and out of jobs real quick. All right, and probably even like with aspects with these things, but more so with the conjunctions because now they're actually in that same sign and that's where they are, you know. Still a way to always work it, always a way to work it, you know. Always a way to work it. You just, hey, if you know that, then he was a whole lot happier when I did his reading. He's like, that's what's going on. I was like, yeah. I mean, that's what it is. So now you know what he does? He's more confident in dating right now because he knows that's kind of where it is. Even if it becomes like a long term, like a year or two, he knows eventually it's going to kind of like, you know, he knows that. He knows that because that's where it's been happening. Now, it's not to say that he can just break that. Of course he could just break that. Somebody could hypnotize him and stop breaking it up. But that's not going to make him, that's going to take him away of what he's naturally came here to do anyway, which is to understand that. See, because he's already enlightened. Sun and Pisces are enlightened people. So he probably needs a lot of different women, him as a man, that he can like enlighten like that. It's foreign. That's foreign stuff. And you put Venus there, that could be a foreign type of relationship. Most people not used to that type of relationship or relationship lifestyle. You have to understand yourself and then do you. All right, so yeah, moving along. Sun, Saturn, Venus in the same house. Conjunctions you want to look at also. Maybe you have Jupiter in Cancer and you have the moon there also in Mercury. Maybe you have Mars and the sun here with Jupiter. So these conjunctions, conjunct meaning they're in the same house. They're conjunct together. All right. I always like to see it as they're at the same junction and there's a connection with them. So the conjunction, they're conjunct together. In the same house, yeah. Same sign. You definitely want to look at that also. And then you need to, again, you're looking at the degrees of each planet, each entity in that sign. So what planet is really controlling that planet in that sign with those other planets? Friendly reminder, basic astrology, cosmology. All right. I am TehRahnSey. Again, I know we know about the sun. I'm going to be doing more videos, just basic videos, to kind of just do the basic videos, right? I like to talk about the sun and the energy and how I perceive it and with my perception. Same thing is just how my dialect is with it, right? So we'll be doing some about the sun and the different houses, the different planets in the different houses. We have a whole lot of other things that we do also with this. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Give thanks. So, just a little bit at a time right now, giving thanks. Hey, degrees, aspects, conjunctions, 2 planets here, 3 planets here together. Some people can have as many as 5 planets in the same house, in the same sign. Some people have like 5 planets in the same sign. And I'm sure it's people like that for every sign. At least one person is on the planet for every sign. At least one. Out of 6+ billion people, right? We got to know at least one person there is on the planet that has at least 5. And some people have 6 planets in one sign. That's a lot going on. That's a lot of energy in that house. That's a lot of energy going on in that house right there. That's a lot of energy. And if you don't really know, man, boy, I can see how that thing, woo-wee. You put the sun, Saturn, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter here. Woo-wee. Be a lot going on. Be a lot going on. Then they get real close together, or they space, because they still got to be within 30 degrees of each other. Really under 29 degrees of each other in this house. So they tight in there now. They tight. So that would be interesting to look at something like that. Woo-wee. Because then all that energy is going, that's a lot going on. Hey, but it can be worked out. Trust that. Trust that. Yep. Yes, indeed. All right. TehRahnSey, giving thanks over here, man. 14710. I'm out.